Let's see. I guess that I'm confused again. Am I here or am I there? I don't know. Over there, I'm everywhere. I know that. But here is connected to over there. Is that right? But then where is the real me after all is said and done? Oh, there is no real me. I guess that's it. I only exist inside those people aware of my existence. But what about this me that I can hear talking right here and now? It's me, isn't it? This me that's talking. Who is it? Who's me?
What's going on, shifters? Welcome back to another episode of Shifting Stories. We have another review for you here today, and this will be another anime review. And let me tell you, this anime is definitely something special, and I do like focusing on kind of what I consider classic animes, especially from the 90s and the 2000s, really kind of those foundational animes that led the way for all these newer animes. And these very high quality, very deep and critical thinking animes, such as the one I have for you today. I don't know if anybody recognizes this. But we were able to have a little visit to Lain's house where she lived temporarily during her human experience time. This is Lain's little bear onesie that she wore while she was lounging around in her bedroom surrounded by computer wires. And we were able to, and we put the tag on it too. So, we put the tag back on it so that we can pass, inspection, and so that we could pass, when we brought it from Japan, when we exported it, we had to put the tag back on it to make it look official, you know what I'm saying? But this is definitely Lain's onesie that she wore. And I don't think Lain smoked Newports though, but we do have our obligatory pack of Newports. She might have been too young. I don't know. Well, I almost spoiled the whole show by saying this one thing. But yeah, she's basically a god, so maybe I don't think gods have like an age. I don't think there's like a certain age that a god has to be to smoke a cigarette, but anyways, I totally did not spoil that, okay? So if you don't know already, this is an anime review on Serial Experiments Lain. And the way we'll run this review will be the same as the other reviews, where we will have an overview, we will have summary, and where am I going? I don't know where I'm going, and I'm scared. Oh my goodness. So we're gonna have an overview. I'm out here in the wilderness, surrounded by trees and wires. We'll have an overview, a summary, and we're gonna go deep into the philosophy of Lain. There will be a few spoilers because it's very difficult to talk about Serial Experiments Lain and not spoil a few things here and there. So here we go. Serial Experiments Lain on Shifting Stories. Who are we dealing with? We are dealing with a 14-year-old high school student. And pinch me if you've heard this before. A 14-year-old high school student who is socially awkward and introvert and, doesn't like to socialize or whatever, right? So stop me if you've heard that before. But that is the surface level of Serial Experiments Lain. So that's our main character, that's Lain. And she lives with her dad, who is this like big time computer nerd. And this guy has, he has the whole setup in his little office, man. He has all the monitors, he has all the computers. He's got about 10 different screens all up in that office. It's crazy. So we have the dad, who is more concerned about his computers and far less concerned about his own daughters and wife. And then we have Lain's mom, who is this very aloof, very distant lady that this is weird. And then we have Lain's older sister, who's like the 16-year-old teenage rebel or whatever, Then we have Lain herself. And so going into the summary, well, that was a quick overview, wasn't it? Going into the summary of Lain, Serial Experiments Lain, we have a very bad incident that happens in the first episode where one of the students at this high school decides that life is no longer worth living, and she goes to, I think, Shibuya, that part of town in Tokyo. She goes to Shibuya, the late night scene, and she climbs a building, and she goes over the ledge, kind of leans over a little bit, and she jumps down, bangs against like a signpost and like a billboard, and is crushed and commits suicide. And boom, just like that, she's dead. So, a few weeks later in school, people are gossiping like, yo, this girl that committed suicide, she just sent me an email. It's super weird. And then Lain's like, what the hell are y'all talking about? And so Lain goes home, and she has like this weird like tablet thing, like the tablet before the tablet, like the proto tablet, like the freaking, like an iPad device. I think they call it what do they call it in the show? Oh, I forgot what they call it in the show. Anyways, she opens that thing and she checks her email, and lo and behold, I think her name's Chisa, the girl that committed suicide. Lo and behold, she has this message from the girl that committed suicide, saying, hey, I know I'm dead, but I'm not really dead. My physical body has merely ceased to exist, but my life continues in the wired. And Lain seems to be like talking back and forth. This seems to be like a back and forth email or text between the dead girl and Lain. And then Lain's like, okay, so why did you kill yourself? And the dead girl's like, I'm here with God. And so, if that doesn't freak you out, and if that isn't like a creepy enough intro for you, then I don't know what is. And so, throughout the very short series, by the way, and I might have mentioned it before, but I love short, one season, 13 episode animes. I just love short and quick animes, right? And so throughout the show, we, the viewer, experience very, very weird interactions where Lain starts to have out-of-body experiences, and there starts to have these other strange individuals surrounding her start to do things. So we have this weird organization called the Knights something, and they're kind of like this secret group, and for some reason they're like trying to figure out what Lane's doing. And then we have these like men in black, you know, like the men in black from like back in the day, if you saw like a UFO and the next morning the men in black would show up at your door, just like the movie, by the way, Men in Black, right? And so we have that happening, and so there's some weird stuff going on. And then Lain starts to like really develop like her computer, okay? So her dad brought her a computer, and the dad warned her like, hey, you know, don't let this computer take over your life, which is one of those weird things that like parents say sometimes, like, do as I say and not as I do, because this mother lover right here had his face in the computer 24/7. And so like he has the audacity to tell Lain, you know, don't let this control your life. But anyways, so Lain builds her own computer, and like through every episode, like there's just like a new part, and there's like these new programs, these freaking wires all over the place. And so we see Lain start to transform into a different Lain, and a different Lain who lives in the Wired, okay? And so at some point, we have the physical Lain and the Wired Lain, and we as the viewer are tasked with figuring out which Lain is the real Lain. And so that's kind of the summary of Serial Experiments Lain without having too many crazy spoilers, okay? So I want to go into the philosophy of Serial Experiments Lain, because there is so much rich philosophical ideas in the anime itself, and I love the fact that they don't hide it. And it's very clear that when you watch this anime that your mind is going to be just in shambles. Like there is no illusion that this is like a psychological, real freaky, real trippy anime. Like there's no illusions about that. So I really appreciate that. But I want to talk about the nature of reality, because I think that's one of the more prominent ideas surrounding this anime. And so Serial Experiments Lain makes you think about the nature of reality. And it makes you think about, is the physical world, all the things that we can touch, is it really real? Or are we part of a simulation? And by the way, that fun little like conspiracy theory about, oh, you know, we're all in a simulation or whatever, that little simulation conspiracy theory, and even like movies and like fiction surrounding like the simulation thing, a lot of that simulation influence, it came from Lain. It came from this anime, because Lain was one of those foundational animes about the whole simulation and like life is just a big game. Lain is one of those like foundational animes of that thinking or that philosophy or that kind of theory, okay? So that's why Lain is important too. But going back to the nature of reality, it makes you think, because we're all so connected. You know, we're connected by phone, we're connected by internet, we're connected by social media, we're connected by all these things. Is that connection reality itself? And is the physical world the fake reality? Kind of makes you think, right? And so that's the beauty of Lain, is it blurs reality. Because if I can store your memories in a system and you no longer need your physical body, then what's the point of having a physical body if everything that makes you you is stored in a system and can last an eternity? What's the point of having a physical body then? Right? And that's a rhetorical but not really question that y'all can answer in the comments. And so that's Lain, okay? And I mean, is this real? Like, is this... And by the way, so many influences like The Matrix, and pretty soon I'm gonna do a Ghost in a Shell review, and it's just like, God, man, people really sleep on these classic, thought-provoking animes. Man, amazing. So guys, this has been the Serial Experiments Lain review with minimal spoilers, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. Woo! And I hope y'all enjoyed it. And I hope I got y'all thinking about the nature of reality, and do our experiences really equal to our perception of reality? And so I'll catch y'all next time here on Shifting Stories, and I will shift you later.